Dear ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, dear friends, esteemed colleagues, it is my pleasure to warmly welcome everybody, all the participants of the trilateral working group on the construction of Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Railway. I'd like to express special gratitude to His Excellency Muhammad Hanif Atmar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, and His Excellency Dr. Abdul Razak Dawood, Advisor to the Prime Minister on Commerce and Investment of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, for co-chairing today's important event with me. With your permission, I'd like to open today's event with my short, but I hope important remarks. Dear friends, esteemed colleagues, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Uzbekistan, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome such a reputable audience in today's event. I express my sincere gratitude to the delegations of the governments of Afghanistan and Pakistan, as well as the leadership and representatives of the international financial institutions for their personal participation in the first meeting of the trilateral working group on the construction of the Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Railroad. Well, honestly speaking, and I think everybody would agree with me, pandemic took the whole world by surprise. We were totally unprepared for such a challenge and the trials that followed. This rapidly spreading virus has shown how interdependent the countries of the world are and how important it is to unify efforts against such an unpredictable challenge. COVID-19 also touched on the thorny issue of transport interconnectivity. Many transport corridors were closed and restricted for cargo movements. The pandemic illustrated the vital importance of having alternative and diversified transport routes. This is especially important for the countries without free access to sea communications, like, for example, Uzbekistan. We see today's joint working group meeting as a testimony of our nation's unwavering commitment to sustainable economic and infrastructure development in the region. I encourage everyone here to remember today's date, February 2nd, 2021, because I'm confident that this will become a historic day. Today, we are taking the first step together towards our common dream. And this is now here a 0-kilometer marker of a 600-kilometer revolutionary trans-Afghan railroad. And I can confidently call this breakthrough initiative as the project of the century. And I'm convinced that the launch of this railroad will form a fundamentally new paradigm of international communication. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not an over-exaggeration to say that the leaders of Uzbekistan, Pakistan and Afghanistan are paying special attention to this project. We are truly energized and motivated by the fact that the joint appeal of the leaders of our three brotherly countries has been received with great optimism by the international community. We appreciate it very much, and I want to thank our colleagues and partners from many organizations, countries, for your understanding and support of the joint initiative of the leaders of three countries. There is a very well-known saying in Afghanistan and Pakistan, which is in Pashto, "Chi zau tu razi nuse de qazi." And in Urdu, Agar ap orme mutmin munta pirneye kya hai? Which is, if you and I agree, what is the lawyer wanted for? The question, of course, is rhetorical. Dear participant, it is well known that trade and transport contribute to the unification and joint prosperity of peoples, ending conflicts and even wars. The railroad we are discussing today will be a powerful platform for sustainable development, raising the living standards of the peoples of our countries. The importance of this rail corridor cannot be overestimated. It will link the South Asian rail system with the Central Asian and Eurasian rail systems as a whole, and will make a significant contribution, we believe, to peace and stability in all the countries of our big region. The Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar project will become a realization of centuries-old dream of our brotherly nations to be closer, to actively develop historical trade, economic, cultural, and humanitarian relations. The peoples of Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan share a common history, religion, and culture. The route will give a new impetus to the revival of national economies, regional and interregional trade. Dear friends, let me briefly give you some facts. First, the construction of the new railroad will make it possible to fully unlock the potential of transport communications, to significantly expand Pakistan and Afghanistan's access to the growing markets of Central Asia, the CIS, and Eastern Europe, with a total population of over 700 million people. Second, Central Asian countries will have the shortest access to seaports through Afghanistan and Pakistan. Third, the new railroad will reduce transportation costs while transporting goods along north-south corridor by 30–35% and reduce transportation time by 15–16 days in average. Thus, the new Trans-Afghan Railroad, which provides access to Pakistan's seaports of Karachi, Qasim, and Gwadar, will dramatically increase the transit potential of Central Asia, attract significant cargo flows, and revive the historical role of our regions as a bridge linking Europe and Asia through the shortest land route. Implementation of the project will create unique opportunities to stimulate Afghanistan's sustainable economic growth by creating tens of thousands of new jobs and conditions for the development of rich mineral reserves along its route. Dear friends, to expedite the construction of this strategically important corridor, we have drafted a joint action plan, and I want to thank delegations from all three countries for your very important and very pragmatic approach, and also for mutual understanding while discussing and agreeing the terms of that action plan. The action plan consists of three key issues. First, we must conduct a field expedition in coming March to trace the route. It is necessary to prepare a scheme of laying sections of the railway line and cartographic materials. Second, preparing a pre-feasibility study is a key to approach the multilateral development banks and other donors. To this end, it is important to identify the lead design institute and its partners in the participating countries, as well as the sources of funding for the development of the pre-feasibility study. Third, we have to develop a financing plan and start the construction. As part of this, it is advisable to form a financial consortium, mechanisms for attracting and using financial resources, as well as to determine and agree on responsibilities of all the parties. Our government assigns a special task force to work out a financial scheme for all the stages together with our partners. We would welcome the participation of the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, European Investment Bank, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, United States International Development Finance Corporation, and other development agencies in the project. It's obvious that we have to work out and conclude an intergovernmental agreement on the financing of the expedition, the development of the pre-feasibility study, and provision of safety of the expedition, as well as of engineers involved in the construction of the railway. Dear friends, all the parties of this strategically important project are opening a new chapter in infrastructural development of Central and South Asia. And no, if you look at this from another angle, it's not a new chapter. This is actually a new era, a new stage, new and most significant milestone of the 21st century for our countries. I believe in our alliance, in our friendship, in our project and its resounding success. I believe in you, dear guests and dear friends. And of course, I encourage all the leaders of the international financial institutions to believe in us as we believe in ourselves, to contribute to the building of our new, great future. The great poet and statesman Alisher Navoiy once said, "Vaqtni behuda sarflamang, ishlang. Bilingki baxtning kaliti bu ishdir. Do not waste time, but work. Be aware, key to the happiness is work." So will we. I want to wish each of you, dear colleagues, dear partners, strong health and of course success in all the beginnings, including the one we are launching here today. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, dear colleagues, dear participants. I'd like now to give the floor to the co-chair of the meeting from the Afghan side, His Excellency, Mr. Muhammad Hanif Atmar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your Excellency, Dr. Sardar Omar Zakov, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Excellency Dr. Abdul Razak Dawood, Advisor to the Prime Minister on Commerce and Investment of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, distinguished ministers, ambassadors, senior officials, and respected representatives of the international financial institutions and development partners. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning. Let me begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to our gracious host, the government and people of Uzbekistan, for the exceptionally warm hospitality and the excellent arrangements in the beautiful city of Tashkent. Also, I would like to congratulate my brother, His Excellency Dr. Sardar Omar Zakov, for his initiative to convene this high-level trilateral meeting of Uzbekistan, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. We hope this meeting will be the beginning of a landmark initiative and a grand step in connectivity and cooperation in our shared region of Central, South, East, and West Asia. In this regard, let me thank His Excellency Abdul Razak Dawood and his distinguished delegation for joining us in today's meeting. Today we are marking an important milestone in the planning and construction of the Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Highway. International financial institutions have been our trusted and valued partners in our challenging but promising journey for development and prosperity. We thank them very much for their presence today and their continued support for our regional connectivity, and specifically for their interest in this special initiative. In the case of Afghanistan, let me specifically acknowledge the contributions and support of the United States development agencies, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, and the Islamic Development Bank over the past 20 years. Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, it is my distinct honor to speak today on behalf of the Afghanistan's delegation and make the following 3 points in support of our joint effort so eloquently outlined by my brother, Mr. Sardar Omarzakov. First, we are fully supportive and invested in our shared vision of regional connectivity, and especially in the Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Railway. We believe we owe it to our ancestors, to the shared civilization they created for us, and to our shared future to invest in improving our regional connectivity and cooperation. This connectivity is not just to unlock our potentials for increased trade, transit, and investment, for inclusive economic growth and prosperity, but also it is to build on our region's capacity and strengthen our cooperation for peace, security, and stability. It is absolutely clear that the positive impacts of this project as an essential part of our wider vision for railways connectivity will contribute to security, stability, and prosperity beyond our region. Second, given the centrality of Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Railway to our shared vision of connectivity, we urge our development partners to support this initiative. Your wisdom, expertise, advice, and financial resources will enable us to realize this noble vision. We will seek your assistance with technical studies on the most effective and efficient options, on economic analysis and viability, and on efficient and accountable construction and implementation. Your financial support and guarantees for the project will surely help us leverage resource mobilization from both public and private investors. Third, collectively we need to ensure regional inclusivity and policy predictability for the successful realization of our shared vision. Just as our ancestors have left us an inclusive civilization, we need to ensure an inclusive future for our children and the generations to come. We should embrace inclusivity and participation from all of our interested neighbors and partners to ensure sustainable prosperity and lasting peace and stability for our region and the global community. We strongly believe that applying WTO rules will help us with both regional inclusivity and policy predictability. We are also quite open to work with our partners on development of any additional legal frameworks and policies that may provide further assurance and predictability. Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, to conclude, let me once again highlight the significance of the proposed vision of regional railway connectivity and its central section, Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar, for our shared interests and benefits. We thank you for your participation and support. Wa min Allahi tawfiq.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. As usual, Your Excellency, you say inspiring words, which I'd like to quickly comment after we actually finalize everything, because I'm always impressed by your words. Thank you very much. Now, let me invite the co-chair of the meeting from Pakistani side, His Excellency Dr. Abdul Razak Dawood, advisor to the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, to give a welcoming speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Dr. Sardar Umar Zarkov, His Excellency Hanif Atmar, distinguished guests from the international financial institutions, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I am honored to have the opportunity to speak at this unique gathering under the leaderships from Uzbekistan, Afghanistan and Pakistan in this lovely city of Tashkent. And I would like to thank the government of Uzbekistan for being such a wonderful host. I would like to also congratulate particularly His Excellency Dr. Umar Zarkov for taking the initiative to bring all of us together under one roof. This meeting will open new frontiers for enhancing trade and will help achieve the shared vision of economic development for the betterment of the people of our three countries. Excellencies, regional cooperation to enhance trade and connectivity is key to social economic uplift and development. I have a strong belief that trade and connectivity are two sides of the same coin. It is not possible to have one without the other. Logistics and transport affect trading activities because they help determine shipping time, costs of handling, and delivery of goods. There is a huge potential for enhanced connectivity within the region. It's time to take advantage of our unique location instead of suffering because of it and unlock the true potential of our trade relations. The Tripartite meeting will help energize our efforts to capitalize on the economic opportunities and is a testimony of the three governments' strong commitment to enhance trade and economic cooperation within the region. I commend the government of Uzbekistan and Afghanistan for taking the long-term initiative for development of this railroad between Uzbekistan, Pakistan and Afghanistan. And we in Pakistan are fully committed to this project. Excellencies, when I look at this long-term project, I look at it with great hope that something great awaits us so long as we have the courage to keep reaching out and keep working with determination. We request the international financial agencies to support this project. My vision for trade and economic relations with Afghanistan and Uzbekistan and beyond is that our trade must be based on secure, open, consistent, reliable, and legal movement of goods at our borders, along with enhanced connectivity within the region. We support the free movement of trucks also between the three countries, and by such supporting, get our trade ready for when this rail project is complete. Excellencies, vision is important, but we cannot be complacent and accept the region just as it is. We have to imagine what the region might be and then push and work towards the better future. As I mentioned yesterday, private sector is the engine of growth. There is a need for creating partnerships with the private sector. These partnerships can take initiatives for improving infrastructure as well. Excellencies, we have great challenges, but great challenges bring great opportunities. I firmly believe that together we can all meet them and write a new chapter in our history. Our destinies will continue to be closely intertwined. We are standing at a moment where our capacity to shape the region is unmatched. And what an incredible privilege that is for all of us in this room. Pakistan remains open to discuss all proposals by our friends in the region and multilateral, at the bilateral and multilateral trade. To conclude, let the citizens of our countries, let not them say that we let this golden opportunity by. Let us grasp this moment and take this very important project forward. I thank you all for listening so patiently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I always tell you that I always enjoy the possibility to, when you share your deep wisdom with us, and thank you for these very inspiring words which you've just expressed. Let me now give the floor to representatives of our partner organizations, international financial institutions, and other potential donor organizations. And I want to invite His Excellency Mr. Konstantin Limitovsky, Vice President of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, to present his speech.
Thank you, Chair. Your Excellencies, dear friends, dear colleagues, distinguished representatives of the international financial institutions, embassies, thank you. It's a great pleasure to be with you. First of all, I wanted to send personal greetings to all the participants from the President Jin. He regrets he cannot take part in the discussions personally. I'd like to say that AIB supports the project, and we welcome this new start of the project. Connectivity, regional cooperation is at the core of the bank mission. And this cooperation and regional trade and the flows of goods between the South and Central Asia can be substantially improved, and this project can have a critical impact in removing the infrastructure impediments. It can be truly transformational for the region. We have been following the development of the project for as long as our bank exists. And the project idea has its ups and downs. And I'm personally very glad to notice that there's a true political commitment now, which is definitely the foundation of success. The political commitment is absolutely necessary, but it is not sufficient. There are many challenges on the way of successful preparation and implementation of the project. The tracing of the route, the optimal corridor has still to be selected. North part and south part have different economics and going through the different countries. So the feasibility requires digitalization and an update. And I'm very glad to notice that there's the working group, which established as Dr. Umurzakov, Minister Umurzakov, indicated, has developed the plan for the further preparation of the project with the critical steps. Looking how to overcome these challenges and to ensure effectiveness in the project implementation, we need also to be cognizant of the lessons learned from the simple project of regional importance, such as CASA 1000, which actually took a very long time to complete. To this end, I'm very glad to see that other international financial institutions, our partners, our friends, are the participants of that meeting. We are all invited, and the owners of this knowledge and experience would and their expertise and the knowledge would give us additional optimism and may allow us to implement the project more efficiently. Lastly, I'm glad that we are invited to this project discussion at a very early stage, when critical decisions are still to be made. And from our end, we can attract attention and cooperate with our new sources of the preparation and capacity building, which would be required. And I'm talking about primarily the newly formed Multilateral Center for Development Finance, which was recently set up and administered by the bank. So with that, I think that I'm close to the end of my 5 minutes. So I like to once again confirm the great interest from the side of AIB and support the project. Thank you very much. And I would be very happy to comment further if it's needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We really appreciate the prompt reply which we got from His Excellency President Jin after the appeal of the leaders of 3 countries was sent out to the leaders of international financial institutions. Thank you, and we look forward to working together with your institution. Now I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency Alain Pilou, Vice President of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
Dear Deputy Prime Minister, dear Sardor, Excellencies, dear colleagues, I am very happy to see so many friends in the room today, and it is a great pleasure to join you on the occasion of this important first high-level tripartite working group. I feel, dear Deputy Prime Minister, I feel emotionally connected to this project, as probably none of you knows that I lived for 1 year in Peshawar in 1989, from where I was coordinating medical assistance to many regions of Afghanistan. Acknowledging the geostrategic and economic significance of this project and stressing its expected positive impact in the wider Central Asia region, I wish to extend my warmest congratulations to the leaders of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan for their vision and efforts for greater regional stability and economic development. This railway shall lay the ground for much improved cross-country cooperation, will increase intra-regional connectivity and trade, and will support further economic growth that in turn shall translate into improved livelihoods for many in all countries being part of or bordering with the important trade route served by the Trans-Afghan Railway. Regional connectivity is at the heart of the EBRD mandate and a key theme of our 2018-2023 country strategy for Uzbekistan, agreed with the government. We have worked with the government of Uzbekistan and the Uzbek railways in the past, supporting the transformation of the Uzbek railways and introducing best industry practices that have become a solid base, ensuring further expansion. And we can see there may be a link between our previous work and the concept of the Trans-Afghan Railway project. Acknowledging the significant positive economic and environmental impact to the region, we must recognize at the same time that we are constrained by our geographical mandate to only consider projects inside our operational remit. And as you know, Afghanistan and Pakistan are not EBRD members or countries of operations. Who knows? This might change in the future. Therefore, we would leave, of course, any considerations for supporting this project in Afghanistan and in Pakistan to our better placed partner MDBs present here today. But we can support, of course, railway investments inside Uzbekistan. So anything between Tashkent and Termez is something that, of course, we can support, and I hope that we will. On top of it, the proposed initiative will be complementary, in our view, to the many projects we support in Central Asia, including in energy, trade, infrastructure, and private sector, catalyzing business growth, creating employment, and contributing to higher living standards. Dear Deputy Prime Minister, dear colleagues and partners, Uzbekistan's success is also EBRD's success. Our relationship, I want to emphasize, is very strong, very cordial. It is a true partnership for reforms, for investments. We have invested 2 billion euros in Uzbekistan over the years, and half of this amount in the last 3 years, sending a strong vote of confidence to Uzbekistan and President Mirziyoyev's ambitious reform program. We are proud to have been able to support Uzbekistan face with success the challenges brought by the pandemic, and we stand ready, of course, to do more as may be needed. The decision that the three countries have taken to support the implementation of the Trans-Afghan Railway project shall catalyze sustainable future development in the region, serving common goals of communities across the Central Asia region. We wish all of you a very productive work ahead, and thank you again for having me today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Vice President, dear Alain. I think EBRD has always been known for its vision, and I'm sure that we should look slightly beyond current circumstances, dear Alain, and use this opportunity now to consider the different ways of participation of different parties in the project, taking into account that this will create a completely new reality for the region of Central Asia, which is entirely included into countries of operation of EBRD. And also I want to use this opportunity to invite our colleagues from Afghanistan and Pakistan to possible review of the issue of potential becoming member country of the EBRD, since this is in line actually with the recent developments with regard to EBRD's strategy on expansion of the countries of operation. Thank you very much. And now it is my pleasure to give a floor to His Excellency Dr. Mansour Mukhtar, Vice President of the Islamic Development Bank Group.
Thank you, Chair. Excellency, Mr. Sardar Muzakov, Excellency, Mr. Mohammed Hanif Atmar, Excellency, Dr. Abdurazak Dawood, distinguished ministers, development partners, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. It gives me great pleasure to represent the President of Islamic Development Group, Islamic Development Bank Group, His Excellency Dr. Bandar Hajjar, in this high-level meeting of the working group dedicated to railway construction project between Mazar-e Sharif, Kabul, and Peshawar, and to read this statement on his behalf. He has asked me to convey his warm greetings to you all and apologies for not being available in person due to unforeseen exigencies. This flagship project is full of promises, as conveyed in the inspiring opening remarks. Among others, it would set up a completely new regional transport artery linking the Central Asia region via Uzbekistan with Pakistan's railway network through Afghanistan. It will also provide the shortest and most competitive route to the southern seaports of Pakistan. We're glad to note that the participating countries have embarked on high-level technical discussions to boost this strategic initiative geared towards enhancing regional connectivity and economic cooperation. By entering into operation, the Trans-Afghan Railway Corridor will undoubtedly evolve into a regional trade corridor and stimulate market integration among our member countries in the region and beyond. The project will have a substantial development impact in all three countries, benefiting their people and boosting exports. It will also provide sustainable communication opportunities, contribute to rural development, and significantly reduce poverty. It is a timely initiative, especially given the region's enormous efforts to overcome the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, restore traditional ties and regional cooperation, as well as resume international transport corridors and business activities. Tackling this multifaceted crisis requires joint and comprehensive actions. Close coordination, solidarity, and sharing best practices are all essential to deal with the pandemic's immediate social and economic consequences. As we move towards the post-COVID-19 era, there must be concerted efforts in economic recovery and regional cooperation, including this new regional project with strengthening regional cooperation efforts. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Islamic Development Bank Group pays special attention to the Central Asian region. Due to infrastructure constraints, the region's countries face high trade costs that remain a major obstacle for their integration into the global economy and overall development. The region's market has enormous potential, yet it remains largely untapped, and consequently its exports are still under certain constraints. Realizing the prevailing transport infrastructure challenges, the Islamic Development Bank has focused its regional projects interventions by channeling financing into the regional transport corridors. After years of bilateral cooperation, we are proud to announce that the Islamic Development Bank has assisted in developing major transport corridors in the region, namely in Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyz Republic, and Uzbekistan. While we are confident of this regional project's long-term perspective and anticipated benefits, we need to consider some essential aspects during the project's preparation to make it economically viable and competitive. It is crucial to conduct a full-fledged feasibility study to assess its commercial viability, long-term sustainability, and the ways to mitigate its risks. We believe that the concerned trade ministries, customs authorities, chambers of commerce, and business communities of the participating countries will agree on the corridor's relevant regional framework to ensure its successful implementation, operationalization, and commercialization. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this project is fully aligned with the Islamic Development Bank President's 5-year program and the bank's regional cooperation and integration policy and strategy, aiming to enhance cross-border connectivity and economic integration by connecting markets, lowering transportation and communication costs, and upgrading logistics systems. Economic integration also requires improved systems, regulations, and procedures, especially at border areas, to facilitate cross-border labor, capital, and goods and services movement. In this context, priority is to be given to establishing the connection of landlocked member countries to international ports and marine routes. The Islamic Development Bank believes that well-performing trade and transport corridors can have significant economic benefits for our member countries, particularly reducing trade costs and time and enhancing the competitiveness of cities, communities, regions, and nations, mainly the landlocked ones. Distinguished guests, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, the project's funding requires a coordinated approach between all stakeholders, including the public sector, private sector, international financial institutions, and development partners. Let me take this opportunity to emphasize the importance of considering mobilizing non-sovereign resources to fund this project via the public-private partnership and developing guaranteed packages to mitigate the project's risk, to promote private sector participation further. In this context, the Islamic Development Bank Group will be ready to explore partnerships with the concerned member countries and other donors. Finally, I reiterate ISDB Group's strong commitment to supporting its member countries in strengthening their economic development. Once again, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Uzbekistan's government for hosting this landmark event, which will undoubtedly benefit our member countries and the whole region. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. Let me first of all follow the Sunnah and respond to your greetings. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And by doing so, I also want to ask you to convey our best regards to His Excellency President Bandar Hajjar. We in Uzbekistan are looking forward to being able to host him and welcome him here very soon, since Uzbekistan, as the hosting country for the annual meeting of the Islamic Development Bank Group this year, is taking all the preparations to organize the event on a very high organizational level. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Yevgeny Zhukov, Director General of the Asian Development Bank.
Your Excellency, Mr. Sardar Umurzakov, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Investments and Foreign Trade of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Your Excellency, Mr. Mohammed Hani Vatmar, Your Excellency, Mr. Abdul Razak Dawood, distinguished delegates, development partners, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Asian Development Bank, I would like first to appreciate the joint efforts and commitments of the governments of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan in taking this initiative. On behalf of President Asakawa, we thank Deputy Prime Minister Umurzakov for his kind invitation to this first high-level working group meeting. ADB fully acknowledges the central importance of regional connectivity as a key catalyst for sustainable economic development and poverty reduction in the region. To promote regional economic cooperation, ADB has supported significant investments for regional connectivity projects under the Central Asian Regional Economic Cooperation Program over the last 20 years, including Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan. Such investments have supported construction of the first modern-day railway in Afghanistan, connecting Hairatan and Mazar-e Sharif, rehabilitation and reconstruction of major highways in all three countries, and modernization of railway lines and rolling stocks in Uzbekistan. In its role as Secretariat to CAREC, ADB has helped to coordinate transport policy and investments across the region. ADB was pleased to support the preparation of CAREC railway strategy for 2017 to 30, which confirms the common vision of CAREC countries to make railways the preferred mode of choice for trade, quick, efficient, accessible to customers, and easy to use throughout the region. We note that Mazar-e Sharif, Kabul, Peshawar Railway line constitutes one of the designated rail corridors defined and planned under the correct railway strategy. The corridor has strategic importance and great potential to improve economic integration between Central Asia and South Asia. To implement the project of such size and complexity, it will be required by all parties to work together to overcome several challenges. First, for the project to attract investors and financiers, the feasibility study will need to be conducted in a robust and transparent manner. Such study must assess whether the project can attract significant volume of traffic and whether regional economic benefits from the project will be sufficient to recover the large costs and will be equitably distributed to participating countries. Second, the large cost of the project is beyond the capacity of any single financier. Other sources of financing, including from the private sector, will need to be pursued. Third, world-leading engineering knowledge will be required to design a corridor that cuts across one of the most mountainous areas of the world. Social and environmental impacts will need to be studied, minimized, and managed. And fourth, robust security arrangements, sound institutional frameworks, and effective trade and transport facilitation measures will be needed to ensure sustainable operation. Mr. Chair, ADB wishes to contribute our expertise and resources to support the three countries in fulfilling the objectives of the proposed project. We have the following to offer. First, support the establishment of a robust economic case. At the request of current member countries, ADB prepared the traffic model that spans the entirety of Central and West Asian region. Subject to your request, ADB is prepared to undertake a traffic study using this model, the results of which can contribute to the feasibility study. Second, we can synchronize our investment in stepwise manner. ADB will work with the respective governments of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan to fine-tune our operations in a way that supports the objectives of this initiative and improves the technical and institutional capacity of railway operations. For example, in Afghanistan, we plan to support the government in establishment of multimodal hubs in locations such as Mazar-e Sharif, which can serve as the conduits for multimodal transport operations to serve the project corridor. In Pakistan, we will continue our efforts to support the government in completing the modernization of border crossing points at Torkham and Chaman, as well as establishment of Land Port Authority. In Uzbekistan, we will support investments in railway electrification to increase the capacity of trunk lines serving Central Asia, South Asia corridor. ADB will continue to support the conduct of meetings of the CAREC Transport Sector Coordination Committee, as well as the CAREC Railway Working Group, which attracts all 11 member countries of CAREC, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan, as well as our development partners, are welcome to use this platform as additional venue for coordination. Dear Mr. Chairman, ADB once again appreciates this honor of participating in this inaugural high-level working group meeting. We look forward to engaging with you on this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zhukov. We indeed really appreciate the cooperation with the Asian Development Bank, and thank you for expressing the commitment and readiness of ADB to support this very important project. Dear colleagues, among the speakers here, we have Ms. Lilia Burunchuk, Regional Director for Central Asia of the World Bank, and I want to express our special thanks to Ms. Burunchuk for traveling to participate in this meeting today, despite all the challenges and restrictions, and we really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair, Deputy Prime Minister Murzakov. On behalf of the World Bank, I would like to really thank the governments of Afghanistan, Pakistan, but especially the government of Uzbekistan for organizing this meeting and for really spearheading this initiative, which is so critical for Central Asia region and so critical for the South Asia region. And it is really excellent to see this level of commitment to this very important project. a project that will improve connectivity between the two regions, a project that will improve the economic prospects for Central Asia, and it will improve the economic prospects for South Asia. These regions have very old historical ties, and by establishing the better connectivity, by improving the trade flows, it will actually help these regions to integrate better in the future and have mutual benefits from this great interaction and integration. And as Mr. Limitovsky said, we have another project, CASA 1000, of the same level of difficulty, I would say, and magnitude. I remember when this project was starting, it was still a question mark, will it work or not? And it actually demonstrated that when governments are committed to an undertaking so difficult like this one, in spite of all the difficulties in terms of security, in terms of complexity, in terms of financing, it demonstrated that it's possible to build projects like this that benefit the people of many countries that these projects cover. So what I hear today is the commitment that is critical for making this project also a success. And we at the World Bank are fully committed to supporting this initiative. You know, we've already been involved in some pre-feasibility work, and we've supported the establishment of a CASA platform for this type of the project to go forward, and we hope to continue supporting this initiative through that platform. I would not want to repeat the points made by Mr. Zhukov, the four very important points on the need to do really robust feasibility studies, on the need to establish a viable financial structure and also ownership, on the need to attract worldwide expertise for a project like this, and also on the need to have a viable way of operating it and ensuring security and making sure that it is viable in the future. And through all of this, of course, that this project benefits all the participating countries, and it actually has the potential of benefiting a much larger number of countries apart from those who are participating in this initial meeting here, first meeting of this high-level group. From the World Bank, we are willing to continue supporting this initiative. We are willing to discuss how we can mobilize resources to put in place and conduct a very robust and thorough feasibility and technical studies and technical work for a complex project like this. And as I said, helping with the financial and ownership structure, and also very important, also mentioned by some of my colleagues from other development institutions, is improving the soft things like trade facilitation things, border crossings, and so on, that will make this project a success, and which are, I would say, quick wins even before the more important, more expensive physical infrastructure is put in place. I'm glad to see the development partners here and the large number of development partners here, because we need to work together and coordinate our activities, and that's a good start, which we take as a positive sign that the commitment and interest in this is here. Finally, dear Chair, dear delegates from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, we look forward to supporting you. We look forward to a successful project that will improve the lives of people in Central Asia, will improve the lives of people in South Asia, will improve the lives of people in your countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Lilia, for the very important ideas and for your expression of support to this project. Indeed, you are absolutely right. We need a sort of a coordination between all the development partners, and we believe that the country platform which we created together under the strong support and initiative of the World Bank might also serve as an option for this kind of coordination. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give the floor now to Mrs. Flavia Palanza, Director General of the European Investment Bank.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Dear Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Umurzakov, dear highly esteemed representative, dear participants in this high-level meeting of the Tripartite Working Group on the implementation of the Trans-Afghan Railway project, and dear ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Before I start, I would like to apologize on behalf of Vice President Czerwinska, who was supposed to be here today, but at the last moment had unforeseeable issues and was not able to join. She really presents her apologies because she would have really wished to be here today in this important event. But it is my great pleasure to replace her and to take part in her behalf. I am indeed delighted to recognize the potential of this new initiative and the fact that it has already generated renewed momentum of stronger regional cooperation. The European Investment Bank welcomes this development, and we are happy to explore cooperation on the way forward on this project. The EIB, well, we are the Bank of the European Union, supports the European Union's strategic objectives and policies in Central Asia. These include improving regional collaboration and the facilitation of intra-regional trade and investment, as well as the promotion of sustainable connectivity. Investment in economically sound infrastructure projects, which facilitate trade flows, as well as increased integration in regional and global value chains, ultimately leads to regional security and stability, to better level of economic development and better level of livelihood of local citizens. And to this end, I'm really very interested in hearing more about this railway project in the framework of this event. The EIB has been active in Pakistan since 1993 in the energy and industrial sectors. We started our first operation in Uzbekistan in 2017. And as of today, in both countries, we have reached a portfolio of projects of approximately 700 million euro, consisting of 13 operations, most of which are focused on supporting the development of sustainable infrastructure. We are looking forward to concluding a framework agreement with Afghanistan in due course, which is a prerequisite and a standard requirement for us to become operational in any country outside the European Union. Central Asia is a region in which we place a lot of importance. And we place a lot of importance in our close relationship with the EU delegation as part of the Team Europe, alongside our colleagues from EBRD, the KfW, and AFD. We also cooperate closely with the World Bank and AIIB. Under the leadership of our regional partner countries, we stand ready to explore suitable opportunities with high developmental impact alongside our development partners. While all these efforts compensate for a lack of EIB office in Central Asia, we are considering, in the context of our strategy for external representations in the coming years, to strengthen our presence in this region and our commitment. As you might know, the EIB Group is the largest global multilateral financier of climate action, committed to aligning all financial activities with the goals of the Paris Agreement by the end of this year. Moreover, at the end of last year, we adopted a climate bank roadmap aiming at mobilizing €1 trillion in climate action until 2030 and dedicate more than 50% of our annual financing to green investment by 2025. In this context, I'm happy to say that 80% of all our operations in Central Asia go hand in hand with our climate ambitions. In this sense, the EIB Group will continue to support the lowest emission forms of transport, which include as well railways, of course, that are typically considered as a more energy efficient and environmental sustainable mode of transport, both for passengers and for freight. For the EIB, railway represents a strategic sector, contributing to key priorities such as better integration, such as clean transport and innovation. We possess extensive experience in the sector with around 20 projects financed each year, amounting for approximately 4 billion. And although the vast majority of these projects are within the European Union, we intend to place more focus on the sector outside the Union. For instance, in the South Asian region, we have already built a presence in the rail sector by supporting multiple rail lines in both India and Bangladesh. Disruptions caused by the pandemic have reinforced the significance of regional connectivity for economic resilience and to mitigate the impact of shocks. At the EIB, we made efforts to enable strong liquidity support in favor of both governments and private sector in these difficult times. And more than ever, we realized the importance of a green and digital recovery from the crisis, which could in the end pave the way towards more resilient, sustainable, and interconnected societies. This regional initiative could be a case in point, reinforcing the ties of three neighboring countries toward a common goal, which could be regarded as a very first step toward more stability, security, and economic prosperity in the region. Let me conclude by reiterating that EIB's ambitions in Central and South Asia remain high, and that we stay ready to work hand in hand with our local and international partners when opportunities to support national and EU priorities arise. Therefore, we appreciate the opportunity to get involved in this high-level discussion today and to understand more about the scope and implication of the future Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Railway project. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all constructive and fruitful discussion in the future work on this project.
Thank you very much, dear Mrs. Palanza. We really appreciate the level of cooperation and relations we've managed to develop with the European Investment Bank, and also I want to ask you to convey our feeling of gratitude to the President of European Investment Bank for sending us very quickly the letter of response or reply letter confirming the interest and support which European Investment Bank wants to render for the implementation of this project. Dear colleagues, I have to let you know that our colleagues at United States International Development Finance Corporation proposed to delegate the right to represent them and to participate in today's meeting to Honorable Ambassador of the United States of America to the Republic of Uzbekistan, Daniel Rosenblum. And of course, we agreed not to disturb their sweet dreams, as they must be sleeping now in the United States. So, dear Ambassador, floor is yours.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Deputy Prime Minister Umar Zakov, Foreign Minister Atmar, Dr. Daoud, dear colleagues, on behalf of the International Development Finance Corporation and the U.S. embassies in Tashkent, Kabul, and Islamabad, thank you for the invitation to join this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at the crossroads of a historic opportunity. There's never been a better time to create infrastructure linkages, trade ties, and business networks between South and Central Asia. And here's some of the reasons why I say that. With Afghan peace negotiations underway, we can now envision a future Afghanistan at peace, stable, and able to resume its historic role, serving as a bridge between South and Central Asia. Pakistan and Afghanistan have shown great initiative to resolve trade issues in recent talks on the Afghanistan-Pakistan Transit Trade Coordinating Authority, with meetings in Kabul and Islamabad. And we've seen Uzbekistan's regional leadership in support of Afghanistan's peaceful economic development and Uzbekistan's energetic diplomacy, which of course has brought us together today. So to my colleagues from Uzbekistan, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, the United States supports your vision for economic connectivity. Before colonialism artificially divided this region into spheres of influence for the benefit of distant empires, South and Central Asia were united in a world of flourishing trade networks. Today's meeting brings you one step closer to tearing down the barriers colonialism built and reestablishing those networks. Enhanced cooperation between your three countries on a transportation corridor is an important first step. But we recognize that many challenges remain for such large-scale infrastructure projects, particularly rail. We encourage you to maintain a flexible approach when seeking to overcome these challenges, including considering a multimodal approach to the transportation corridor. As this railway project advances, and particularly if it appears that the project structure will be private sector led and bankable, the Development Finance Corporation would welcome further discussions on how they might be able to support the project. In the meantime, as some of my colleagues from the multilateral development banks have already said, it's crucial to make sure that all countries involved in these projects are broadly implementing the multilateral transit and trade agreements that will make regional trade successful and cost competitive. On that note, trilateral meetings that we held last summer with Afghanistan and Uzbekistan identified a number of ideas to boost cross-border trade. Let me briefly review some of those ideas. First, we discussed the importance of broader implementation of the TIR Convention, to which Pakistan is also a party. Working together to implement the TIR Convention will help simplify the procedures of trade and eliminate non-tariff barriers that slow transit and drive up costs. On a related note, strengthening cooperation on mutual recognition of sanitary, phytosanitary, and veterinary documents was raised in those trilateral discussions as an area to build economic cooperation. And given the rich agricultural resources of all three countries and the importance agriculture plays in your economies, this will certainly yield economic benefits in years to come. Another item, traders often cite difficulties in acquiring visas as an important barrier to doing business between Afghanistan and Uzbekistan and between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Easing visa requirements for traders and business people would have an immediate positive effect for trade. And finally, in those discussions last summer, Afghanistan and Uzbekistan both expressed interest in bringing together business people and chambers of commerce. I'm sure that Dr. Dawood and the government of Pakistan shares this interest. Organizing conferences, matchmaking activities, and informal meetings can help develop networks ready to make use of future infrastructure connections. So in all of this work, the United States stands ready to support you. The DFC is excited to explore support for economically viable, private sector-led projects in your countries, including infrastructure projects, and particularly those that promote regional connectivity. Our embassies in Islamabad, Kabul, and Tashkent stand ready to receive your proposals and answer any questions. The vision and the political commitment are clearly there, as this meeting today demonstrates. So let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Honorable Ambassador. We really appreciate the government of the United States and DFC's support of this beginning, which we are discussing here now, and we really look forward to working together with our American partners to make this, to move to the implementation phase of the plans which we are hopefully agreeing today. Dear participants of today's event, actually, officially, we now have a slot of 10 minutes for questions and answers session. If any participants of today's event have any questions, feel free to ask them, and of course we will be able to, we will try to answer them immediately. If there are no questions, since we've, I think, worked hard in last several months in order to agree the joint action plan, so our teams were interacting on a daily basis, and even over last weekend, both delegations from brotherly Afghanistan and brotherly Pakistan, when they arrived to Tashkent, they immediately moved to continue their discussions and joint work. So if there are any questions from the participants of this event, then I would ask that we move to next section, which is the signing ceremony of a joint action plan. It is my pleasure now to invite His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Hanif Atmar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, and also His Excellency Dr. Abdul Razak Dawood, Advisor to the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, to attend the signing ceremony. I think we can congratulate each other with the signing of the roadmap. Thank you very much. And now, dear colleagues, I think it's time for giving the floor to co-chairs of this meeting for their concluding remarks. And it's a great honor for me, and of course pleasure, to give the floor to co-chair of the meeting from Pakistani side, His Excellency Dr. Abdul Razak Dawood, Advisor to the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, for his closing remarks. Your Excellency.
Dear Excellencies, I think this is a great historic moment for us, and I am absolutely very excited, and I know that our Prime Minister, Mr. Imran Khan, has been fully supportive of this move. And today we have signed it, and inshallah let it go forward with hopes in our hearts, and that this get-together gives the promise that we're all signing on to the people of the three countries.
Thank you very much. It is also my pleasure and honor to give the floor to co-chair of the meeting from Afghan side, His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Hanif Atmar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for the wonderful leadership and very able leadership you demonstrated today to get us through this very important event. Your Excellencies, if I may, let me first say that I was extremely inspired and assured by the very professional and politically supportive response, not only from the 3 participating countries, but also from our international development partners. All of you, thank you so much. It was indeed a historic day for all of us, and your response was inspiring and promising. Thank you for that. Second, we clearly understood and took note of the advice you gave us. There was emphasis on a robust and transparent feasibility study to establish the optimal options corridors. It was clearly about viable financial structure, advice on commercial viability studies and economic sustainability, traffic study, and security studies and arrangement. There was also a strong advice to us on trade facilitation, especially the software component, ranging from visas for traders to trade facilitation and cross-border and multilateral arrangements, the TIR and the landlocked Nations Convention. We took very important note of all of that advice as well. It was heartening to also hear from you about the level of your support and the type of your support. We thank you for your generous, not only financial offers of support, but also other types of technical support, including somebody who volunteered to offer help with traffic study and feasibility studies, and also capacity building, and help with a public-private partnership to finance. Dear colleagues, let me assure you on behalf of Afghanistan and my delegation here that we are not only fully committed politically to this project, but we are also fully prepared to take your advice seriously and take appropriate action on it. And I am absolutely confident from my conversations with my dear colleagues from Uzbekistan and Pakistan that I am representing them safely on this issue, that we can work together on the excellent advice and recommendations you've given us. So with this, as one of our colleagues said, that there is clearly the vision there and the political commitment. And now the third thing that there is good advice and technical recommendations. So now we have to get to work to translate this important vision into practical benefits, not only for our region, but for the global community at large. So thank you again, Your Excellency, and I'm extremely honored to have been participating in this very important event. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And now, with your permission, dear colleagues, I'd like to close this event with the following remarks. Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear friends, colleagues, this is our first meeting on the implementation of a very important project which we discussed today, and this meeting now came to an end. Before summarizing the results of our discussions, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the delegations of the government of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan and the government of Islamic Republic of Pakistan for the open, constructive and productive dialogue. There is no doubt that your valuable inputs and recommendations, of course, will contribute to achieving our common goal of maintaining long-lasting peace, stability and sustainable economic development in Central and South Asia. My special gratitude should go to the management and representatives of the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, European Investment Bank, International Development Finance Corporation of the United States for their kind support to the initiative of convening such a historic gathering and their keen interest in the project. We shed the light to many aspects of the Mazar-e Sharif Kabul Peshawar Railway construction project. All the parties acknowledged its scale, synergy effect, and of course significance. At the same time, I have to admit that the vibrant discussions we had and are having indicate that some issues remain open and must be addressed. We have to approach our multilateral donors with clear vision on all aspects, all sides, all issues related to this important, strategically important project, including financial, economic, technical, social, environmental details, and all other important components. I anticipate that the Trilateral Coordination Working Group will soon work hard and prepare all the documents and all the data and information which is needed to progress along the roadmap we've just approved. And of course, respective input of our partners from international financial institutions and development partners will be highly appreciated. My dear friends, visits of Afghanistan and Pakistan delegations to Uzbekistan were filled with discussions on many important issues on trade, economic, social, cultural cooperation, and I can assure both delegations that in the face of Uzbekistan, you have a reliable partner, an outspoken friend, and supporter of all the development initiatives we have for our countries. This meeting, I believe, has laid down a firm foundation for our joint work on strengthening the connectivity between Central and South Asia. And I believe that through joint efforts we will be able to revive one of the important parts of ancient Great Silk Road, which is now our common heritage. And many speakers today actually confirmed how close our three countries and three brotherly nations used to be in the past, are today, and will be hopefully in the future. And I believe that the best heritage we all can leave behind us for the future generations of nations of Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan might be exactly this kind of project the discussion on which we initiated today. I want to wish all participants of today's gathering all the best, and I'm looking forward to meeting you very soon. I'm sure it wasn't easy, we have to confess, to come to this point, starting point of this project. But at the same time, it's just the beginning. Main work is ahead of us. And I'm sure that all three countries, three governments, three nations, together with all our partners, whether it's development institutions or foreign countries, will be able to demonstrate our commitment and demonstrate our seriousness when it comes to implementation of the actions which we agreed and signed today. Let me now declare this meeting closed, and I want to wish all the participants success in all the beginnings and in all your activity you will be doing in future. Thank you very much.